So it's a £400 at full draw. Oh dear, oh dear. The only thing that I can do now is just try and shoot an arrow off it. Can I do that? Can I even do that? It's a little bit random. Let's see how we go. Hey, yes! Hi, it's Todd from Todd's Workshop. I'm Todd Cutler here, and today is an exciting day because we are going to start making our Chinese medieval siege crossbow. But it's not just any old siege crossbow, as if that wasn't cool enough. It's going to be one of these. It is a triple-bowed monster. Quite what it's going to do, I don't know. But it's not going to do it on its own, so let's get down the workshop and start building. So let's recap about what we're actually going to build. So I've made 3 films so far about this, mostly to do with my thinking and a little bit of modelling. And this was the model that I came up with, and it worked really well. So you've got a couple of pulleys here, 2 bows at the front that are tied, another bow at the back goes over those pulleys, so when you pull it you get a massively long draw length, and all the bows bend approximately equally. Now I did a load of calculations on this based off the back of this model here, and what I decided was that we were going to run £100 bow here, 100 here, and an 80 here. But that was actually using the force draw curves of these, well, unreal, not real bows, just made out of fiberglass strip. So the force draw curves are slightly different for the real bows. So I managed to get my hands on these 2 fabulous £100 bows from Alibow. And they're going to be the 2 at the front. But actually, when you look at the force draw curves of how these work, I don't think it needs an £80 bow at the back. You might think it may need 100 or more. I think it needs a 65. And that's what I've got here. So we're going to run it with 100 at the front, 65 at the back. I got myself a fence post, and we're just going to make a very rough mock-up, quick, dirty, rough mock-up, and see if I'm even vaguely on the right lines. And then we'll make something for real. So let's get our fence post and cut a notch for the front bow. So the first bow's in, but I am beginning to think that my workshop is too small for this. So next up is, where does the second bow go? And I've never built one of these before, I don't really know. So that kind of looks good. We'll go with that. But it's one of the reasons I'm doing it in the fence post, is it doesn't really matter too much if I mess up on that. I can just go and buy another post. But there we go. I'll cut the second notch and we'll see how it's beginning to look. I am both excited and petrified by this machine. Okay, let's get these bows in. Goodness, that is really beginning to look like something. Something scary, but it's looking like something. So then next up, we're going to tie these limb tips together. And to begin with, I think I'm going to leave this string in place because it's just going to make my life easier. And then we are going to have to work out how to tie the 2 off, but we got the pulleys to come here, so I'm probably going to use the pulleys as part of that lashing off process, I think, rather than drilling holes in the wooden sides here. But what this arrangement now does is it tells us where the string is. So now I can measure off the maximum draw length on this one, so I can come back from the belly here, 76 centimetres, 30 inches. I can then mirror that with the smaller bow on the other side. So I'm just going to start marking this off where these strings are going to move to, and that's going to allow me to know where to cut the notch for the opposing bow. I've got to cut the notch for the last bow down here. This is mind-blowing. If this works, A, I'll eat my hat, but B, this is going to be amazing. I hope. I don't know. I've so many times doing projects like this, you think one thing and something else happens. However, let's just have an adventure. Oh, my head is just exploding. It's a change of location, so I'm outside now. There just wasn't room to do this inside because this thing is big. It really is. So I've got 2 little rubbishy washing line pulleys, I suppose. They're the ones I'm just going to test drive this with. They're not the ones I'm going to do the final thing with. Then we've got some Dyneema here. So this has got a breaking strain on it of about 700 kilos, I think. So first of all, I'm just going to tie these off on the limb tips. Slippery stuff, Dyneema. It doesn't like taking knots very much. If I was a sailor, I'm sure I would know how to deal with it, but I am not. So we've got our pulleys on the ends now, and actually the eyes of the pulleys are going to be a perfect place for me to lash through, so I can tie from here to here without things slipping about. Because obviously the pulley is now retained in the nock here, and that's going to keep everything where I want it to be. Excellent. They're both exactly the same, which you kind of want, I suppose. So we're ready for the first one. As I pull this string, it should flex both bows. Bearing in mind that's 200 pounds of draw weight on there at maximum draw. Oh dear, oh dear. Hang on. Actually, of course, no. It's not 200 pounds of draw weight, is it? It's not 200 pounds of draw weight. Because, I forgot, I'm pulling this bow as a vector draw. This bow is 100 pounds. This is a 100-pound bow, but I'm not pulling it as a vector draw, I'm pulling it as a straight draw. And the straight draw is approximately 3 times the weight on this bow. So actually, what I'm pulling here is the 100 and a 300. So it's a 400-pound at full draw. That's what it would be, which is not surprising, but I cannot get it back any more than that. About 8 inches, 20 centimetres. Little way to go. But first instance, my goodness, this thing is going to have power. So next up with this piece of craziness is to get the string from the rear bow over the pulleys and back to the rear bow again. And then we can start to get a feel for what this thing's really going to be like. There's a bit of tension in that. I'm just going to get Tomasz, actually. He's going to help me bend these limbs and we'll tie it off. Ah, Tomasz. That was good timing. So I'm trying to tie this off, but I'm really struggling to get tension on there because, I don't know, because. So Tomasz, can you just push that limb and that limb just a bit? That's it. Hold it, oh, hold it, hold it. Thank you for your help with my little bit of craziness. Shall we see what it does? Oh dear. Okay, I think the first thing is, this is why it needs a winch. I can't get in to bend it. I'm going to have to get a rope on this. Okay, let's give this a go and see what we're making of it. Well, I'm making that's pretty powerful. I'm also very disturbingly seeing that this back bow is bending much more than I was expecting it to. So we're just going to run a couple of tests now with the help of Tomasz here. We've got a crane scale on, a load cell. So we're going to measure that in kilos, and I'm just going to have a look at the distance, just so I can begin to get a bit of a feel for what this thing's doing. So Tomasz, just pull, like hard. So that's 36 kilos at 38 centimetres, 15 inches. This thing should have a 60-inch draw, nearly 80 pounds, 36 kg. And that is at a quarter of the draw length. Goodness me, that'll be a thing. However, we do have a little bit of an issue here. Just pull back again. I'm just going to take a quick measurement here and hold if you can, as long as you can. 1, 2, 3. Keep holding, keep holding, keep holding, keep holding. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3, 2. Okay, and relax. The deflection on those two bows, that one was deflecting more than these ones. So maybe I'm an idiot. And maybe the 65-pound bow is not what we want, so I can swap that out for a 70 now and have a look. But it is looking like these two bows here are going to be too powerful for that one. Somewhere my maths was askew. However, that aside, I think what we've seen here is if we can balance these numbers up to make it work properly, we are going to have something quite extraordinary. So I'm going to have a little tinker about and see where we get to. So I've swapped that out for a 70 now. We're just going to pull and hold, and I'm just going to measure the tip-to-tip distance on the bows, see how the deflection is. Okay, you can hold there? Yeah. Okay, good. So that's 1, 2, 2, 1, 3, 4. Okay, so the rear bow is deflecting a lot more, and I am frankly very disappointed in myself and everything else. I'm disappointed in everything. So I've swapped that out for a 70. I don't have any other spare bows at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stick the 70 here at the front, and I'm going to move 100 to the back, which is quite a radical change, but I'm just going to see how that works. So I've swapped out the 100 that was at the front for a 70, because I haven't got anything bigger than a 70, and I've got the 100 at the back now. So Tomasz, just give us a pull and a little look. And I can tell you now, the back bow is not moving at all, and that's 125 now. The pleasing part is that perhaps I was on the right lines, but it's not the 70, possibly embarrassingly, it might be an 80.
I don't think it needs an 80-pound bow at the back.
Which I said it wasn't right at the beginning of this film. And I don't have an 80, so I'm going to have to get on the phone to Alibo again and get another 80. Maybe a 90. Anyway, I'm going to swap back, and then we're just going to have a little pull through some draw lengths just to get some idea of what's going on. So right now, I'm a little bit bemused, a little bit annoyed, a little bit, I don't know, disappointed really, because I was convinced that my numbers, when I did my calculations of 100, 160 or 65, whichever it was, I forget, was going to be correct. Now I got a 60 and a 65 and a 70-pound bow to give me a little bracketing on that. However, I've now got the 70 in there and it is not enough. But if I swapped out the other way round, it wasn't moving at all. We saw that when I put the 70 at the front and the 100 at the back. So I'm on the right path. I'm not very far away, but I am not there. And this, for me anyway, is why I always go to empirical work, actually doing it, not sums, because sums never work out for me. So we're just going to try this again. Tomasz is just going to pull back. We're going to get an idea of where we're going, and then I'm going to get a heavier bow ordered. Right, so Tomasz, pull away. So we are up at, thank you very much, 52 kilos there. Can you hold it, Tomasz? Hold it, 52 kilos. We have a length there of 125. We have a length here of 119. Not that much different. 52 kilos. I'm going to see if we can do any more. Okay, so we're up at 71 kilos just beyond the clamp, and we'll measure that. 71 kilos on 78 centimetres. That's 31 inches. That is a little bit over half draw. How many kilos was it? I'm too excited, I keep forgetting. It was whatever the kilo number was. That was loads. So that was about 160 pounds on a 30-inch draw, and we've still got 30 inches to go, give or take. I think the only thing that I can do now is just try and shoot an arrow off it. Can I do that? Can I even do that? Let's get the arrow on the string. I've got no proper trigger, no release, so it's a little bit random. Let's see how we go. Hey, yes! So that's what, about 30 metres, something like that, at 3 or 4 degrees elevation. So that's not spectacular, but I drew it back here, maybe a third distance, maybe not even that. So it's got one heck of a long way to go yet. And the arrow's got a heck of a long way to go yet. So anyway, let's conclude this thing. Where have we got to? My original maths that were giving me 100, 165, I think it was, is wrong. I'm running a 70 on the back now. I'm going to up that to about an 80. Fingers crossed that'll be about right. Then I've got my spacing now. I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to build a winch for this one. And building that winch is going to allow me to really draw things back and just make sure things are working as they should. And then we're going to transfer onto Ash and go for real. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. And don't forget, we've got the other channel, toddcutler.com, does more niche content. We've got a Patreon page, very, very helpful for projects like this. But of course, we've also got toddsworkshop.com. And if you like the medieval weaponry, go and check that out because it is rammed full of it and you will absolutely love that site. So I will see you again when we up the ante and we make this thing shoot for real. See ya.